Welcome to the Worldwide Culinary Apprentice online classes. Today we're going to make an Italian-based buttercream. There are 4 different types of buttercream. We have the Italian, we have Swiss, we have French, and we have a German. For classes on those other buttercreams, check our menu on our channel and my playlist. So, let's start. The first thing we have is our egg whites. We have 150 grams of egg white. We have 450 grams of butter. We have 300 grams of sugar and another additional 75 grams of sugar. A pinch of salt and 150 grams of water. So I'm going to start my water. I want to make a softball sugar. The softball sugar is going to go into my meringue. So I'm going to heat my water first and I'm going to add my sugar. Softball sugar is cooked to 238 degrees Fahrenheit, and it actually creates a small ball. That syrup is going to help to bring volume to the meringue, also to cook the meringue, and then it will be making it acceptable for us to add our butter. It'll have a nice fluffy texture and it's very, very white. You can reduce the initial sugar if you want. It's 75 grams. I like to use 50 because I don't want my buttercream quite so sweet. But this sugar helps to, the meringues help to accept the additional 150 grams. So we're going to wait for this to begin to boil. And then when I start to see it boil, I'm going to turn on my egg whites and begin to whip them. And I want to make sure that they're white and frothy before I add my 50 grams of granulated sugar. So now my sugar is coming to a boil. I'm going to begin to turn on my egg whites so that they can start to mix. Now, I'm going to add a pinch of salt to help stabilize them. The salt actually helps to stretch the proteins and make it easier for them to denature. Now I want to check that my sugar is at the softball stage. You can also observe your sugar. If you look at the size of the bubbles as they are boiling, that will tell you whether or not you're getting close to your softball stage. Right now they're a little too rapid. They're getting larger, but they're a little too rapid, and I still have some water evaporation. I want them to get to a nice syrupy consistency. To check it, you can take a spoon and drop a little bit of it in ice water. I like to use my hands. So I chill my hands very well in the ice water. I dip it right in the sugar, go right back into my water, and there's nothing on my hands, so I still have a bit of water here. I just checked my sugar and it's now at thread, which means I'm getting close to the softball stage. So if you look at the sugar, you'll see that the bubbles are beginning to be a little larger and they don't explode or pop quite so quickly. I'm going to check it now and see what I have. And right there I have a little bit of sugar on my hands, and I can create a bowl with it. That's perfect. I'll turn off my sugar. I'm going to increase the temperature, the speed on my mixer, and pour it down the side. So now that I've added my softball sugar, I'm increasing the speed on my mixer, and I want to wait until the temperature begins to drop. I don't want to add my butter right now because it will cause it to melt. And in melting, it would make the color, the fats, color my buttercream, make it a little bit more yellow. And Italian buttercream has a really pretty, very white consistency when done properly. So put your hands on the bowl, you'll feel that it's a little bit warm, and you'll know the real temperature by putting your finger right underneath the bowl, right where the dimple is. That will let you know when it's cool. So I'm going to wait right now for it to cool. Meanwhile, I have my butter cut up in cubes. You want to use cold butter. If it's super cold and you feel like it's going to be too hard, you can temper it a little bit with your hands. But I'm going to wait right now just for my meringue to come down in temperature. So it's feeling very cool now. So now I'm going to start to add my butter a cube at a time. You'll notice that when you add the butter, the meringue is going to begin to drop immediately. Meringues do not like fat, which is why whenever you mix your whip any egg whites, you want to make sure there's no fat on the whisk. You want to make sure there's no egg yolks in the whites. So right here, it looks like it has a little bit like a cottage cheese look. Just let it mix a little bit further. You're creating an emulsion. You have quite a bit of water that's based in your egg whites, and you're adding a fat, so you're putting the two together and creating an emulsion. So my buttercream has come together. Now, I want to knock out a little bit of the air. There's a little air in there that's created by the whisk. And if you were to use it just as it is, it would have a tendency to kind of skirt or slip on the cake. So right now I'm going to take a paddle and I'm going to knock out that air so that it's really nice and usable. Whenever you want to use your buttercream, you always want it to have like a mayonnaise kind of consistency when you're spreading it on a cake. It's nice and white and fluffy. What's great about Italian buttercream is it has a long life. You'll see with the French buttercream, it's very rich in butter and it doesn't whip up as well or as frequently. But with an Italian buttercream, when you make this buttercream, you can use it again and again and again. How long will it last? As long as you don't incorporate any kind of bacteria in there. It's got a lot of sugar, which is going to preserve it for a while. Keep it well secured in the refrigerator. You can even freeze it. Make sure you cover it a couple of times, and you can use this buttercream for many things. For cakes, for the basis for your creme mousseline, which we'll talk about later. So we're also going to use this for, we can use this for other fillings like icings that you may want to have a little bit more body to. Especially like a cream cheese icing. You can put some of this in to give it a little bit more body so it doesn't slide around. So I hope you get to use your buttercream, make your buttercream, and I hope you'll come back and see us again at the Worldwide Culinary Apprentice classes. Have a good day.